check the chat, make sure there ain't no questions in there. Normally everybody calls in. So like for the people calling in, the number is 305-985-5453. 305-985-5453. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat. Officer Shirazazai is gonna put the role in there for brothers and sisters who cannot call in but have questions or want to check in through the roll. All right. Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge started out on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, back in 1969, under Commanding General YAHANNA, Precinct Officer Kazak Damar, I.S.U.P.K. Jacksonville's Truth 101 class every Monday. We get into the milk, get into the basics of what we teach here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Somebody give me Hebrews 5 and 12. We'll start there. Go ahead.
Hebrews 5 and 12 says, for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as ye have need of milk and not of strong meat.
Stop right there. This is the time we in, right? Time where we should have answers. Time where we should be teaching our children and our families how to serve the Most High. The problem is what we've been taught is not what we should be teaching. What we've been taught is a lie. What they say in the in the movie in Malcolm X, he said we've been hoodwinked, we've been bamboozled. All of the things that they taught us had nothing to do with the Most High and had everything to do with mostly white supremacy, Christianity, things that had nothing to do with the Bible, period. Can everybody hear me clear? All right, so now we got to be taught again, right? When the time that we should be teaching, we have need that one teach us again. Now, who can teach you? Anybody? Just any, you know what I'm saying? Anybody with a Bible and some fringes on their t-shirt can teach you? No, you have a specific people that the Lord has called and put in place to teach you how to serve the Lord. And the problem is so many imposters. There's so many people that's pretending to be those people, to be, because they want the power, they want the rank, they want they want everything that comes along with it, but they don't want the responsibility of what happens if they don't do a good job and the people fall and are destroyed because of you. We willing to take that now. The people are destroyed already, right? And we willing to put that on our backs and say, you know what? We're going to fix this problem. We didn't create it, but we're going to fix it. How are we going to fix it? We're going to go back to the basics of what's in this Bible and teach our people, you know, the things that they taught them was wrong. That the things that they learned is not actually in the Bible at all. And we're going to fix it by teaching you the truth concerning this Bible. So it's basic things like, you know, there ain't no white people in it. Let's start there. That blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the chosen children of God. They are the children of Israel spoke about in the Bible. White man is the devil spoke about in the Bible, and so on and so forth. The law is not done away with. The virgin birth was stolen from Greek mythology, and all of these other things. So this is what we teach here every Monday night. We get into it. All right, so we can go ahead and drop that. I just wanted to make sure we hit that a little bit. But it says, one of the key things it says in there, that you have need of milk and not of strong meat. Everybody want to be so deep and everybody want to be so educated and sound all of this, but if you can't get the most basic things about this, you're gonna miss the boat, and that's brotherhood. You don't know how to treat your brother. You know, Christ simplified all 300 and such laws down to two, and that's love the Most High with all your heart, mind, and soul, meaning keep His commandments, do what He said do, and love your neighbor, meaning your brother, meaning other black people, as yourself. So if you don't get those things out of all this, everything you learn, if you could, as long as you summon it up with this, you got that. You know what I'm saying? That's the milk, and everything in the milk cuts every other doctrine on the face of the earth to piss. All right, so right here we give it to you every Monday night. We all, as protocol with the UPK, we start off with questions. Anybody got any questions?
So I sir.
Go ahead.
Well, sir. So like what you was just saying, how you know everybody wants to get the glory and stuff like that. So now that's making our people not trust nobody because they've been misled so many times. So that's gonna go into like the question I already had. I got a question on the scripture that Christians like to use to say they don't have to use or listen to nobody. So it's in the book of Psalms, chapter 18, 118. I'm sorry, so chapter 118, and it starts at verse 8. Somebody threw this at me, so I understand what it's saying. Like it's saying, you know what I mean, like the scripture saying, not to trust any man, you know what I mean, like just like what you're saying,
Psalms 118. What verse?
Verse 8. I know what it's saying, but I just wanted to get a breakdown from you on it, to kind of, get my wording better or whatever when I try to explain or whatever.
All right. Let me get there. Give me 1 second. Let me get there with you. 118 verse 8.
Yes, sir.
As usual. Okay. Just so everybody know, when you read in the Bible, right? Some things are literal. Some things are figurative. Some things are conditional. Some things are exactly what it says, right? You have to be able to try to understand which one is happening or which one you're reading, else you'll be lost just like every other Christian, just like every other nigga that got a Jesus piece, around his neck or whatever the case may be. Salaki, 1 second. Let me see what's going on here. All right. It was looking like something was going on with the YouTube. I had a red light up here, but I think we good. Lord allow, we'll be straight in a second. All right, go ahead and let me see if we want to start at verse 8. All right. Go ahead and put go ahead to verse 6.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 118 and verse 6. The Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do unto me? The Lord taketh my part with them that help me. Therefore shall I see my desire upon them that hate me.
All right, so the Most High is on my side. I will not fear what man can do to me. Right. This was in the breakdown yesterday. Cat was bringing it out, like when it was talking about treading serpents. Does that mean I'm gonna just go and jump in front of every gun and be like, I'm never gonna die, or run in front of cars or anything like that? No, that's not what that means. What that means is when you are serving the Lord, you don't have nothing to fear as far as what somebody else can do to you. There's another precept to this where it says, "Fear not them that can kill the body, but fear him that could kill both the body and soul in hell. Now, okay, you hear somebody say that. They say, I ain't scared, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Now, does that mean you should not respect a man in your face, or that somebody that got a gun to your head, or somebody that's coming in to the point where you go into a mode to try to defend yourself, or to make sure you stay out of, you know what I'm saying, like climbing, you like go, you know how Esau jump out of planes for no reason and go fighting with wrestling alligators. That mean you should go wrestle an alligator or something like that because you serving the Lord? That's not what that means. When it's saying not to fear, it means if something coming up against you and you got the Lord on your side, you're going to prevail. But you got to better make sure that the Lord is on your side, right? You can't just be saying it. You can't just think it because, you know, you finally stopped doing all the things that you was doing, because you were supposed to be serving and doing the law, statutes, and commandments anyway. So you got to make sure you understand what it's talking about when it's saying, you know, don't fear nobody. It's not, I don't mean you going and you try the biggest nigga at the club just because you feel like you fear the Lord. Because the Lord may not be with you just because of your pride. Just because it's always other scriptures that have to go along with it. That's why they say precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. So at the same time he's saying this, he's saying the Lord resisted the proud. You know what I'm saying? You can't boast on the things that you can do. You can't be that confident in the things that you can do, but you have to be that confident in the things that the Most High can do. And then once you got that, you're in a position where you don't have to fear anything. All right, keep going.
Oh, God, sir. Verse 8. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man.
Go ahead.
Oh, God. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in princes. All nations compass me about, but in the name of the Lord will I destroy them.
All right, so what's David talking about?
Lucky, sir.
Yep.
Oh, God. So he's saying, like it start like right before verse 8 when he said, you know, therefore shall I see my desire upon them that hate me. So he said, I'm not going to put my wants and needs in man who hates me. You know what I mean? Like somebody who's already against me. And then it says in verse 8, it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. You know, that's just like everybody who you know, they got black people marching and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like maybe the white man, instead of putting your confidence in the Most High,
okay, that's not what he's talking about here. You right. You own it. You absolutely right. But in this particular one, okay, what's the topic? That's what I'm asking. What is he talking about? What is David talking about in all of this?
To put your strength in the Most High.
Okay, give me a topic without it having anything to do with the Most High. If you read it, what is David talking about?
Oh, God, don't trust men.
La. Anybody else want to give it a try?
Sir.
Go ahead.
Is he talking more on the line of protection?
David is talking about war, rulership, conquering. That's what he's talking about. Let me read it again now that you know that, right? The Lord is on my side. I will not fear what man can do unto me. The Lord taketh my part with them that help me. Therefore shall I desire, or shall I see my desire upon them that hate me. It is better to trust in the Most High than to put confidence in man. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in princes. All nations compass me about, but in the name of the Lord will I destroy them. Everybody see what's going on or no? Anybody not get it? Anybody need any? You, you see?
The answer is in the verse 10 and 9.
It's in all of them. It's in verse 6. The Lord is it's in verse 5. I called upon the Lord in my distress. The Lord answered me and sent me into a large place. What he's talking about is the Lord setting aside a piece of land. He about to go in there and conquer that land. He's about to go in there and take over. And that's what David did. He's going to destroy everybody and he's going to take it for himself. That's what this is talking about. Now let me ask you this. The Christian that brought it to you, you think they know that? They don't know David talk about going in there and killing everybody in the name of the Lord. They don't know that. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so now that you know that, verse 8, it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. Remember when he was talking about, I believe it was Caleb, who went in with 300 men or whatever. The Lord did not allow him to bring everybody, but he sent people home. I can't remember. It's a story in the Bible where he was talking about, you know what I'm saying, he only kept the men that was good for battle. Or when you go to Deuteronomy chapter 7 and 1. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 7 and 1 real quick. Hold your spot where you at, Deshaun. We're going to get somebody else to read the Deuteronomy. Go ahead.
That was a story about Gideon when he went to war, and he told the people to drink the water. Whoever lapped like a dog, keep them. Whoever
Con, right. And he went in there with a lot less people and did more. You know what I'm saying? A lot less people and did more. Somebody got the precept? Go ahead. Who is that? Nasha? Nah, let somebody else get it. Somebody else get it. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 7 and 1.
Yep.
When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it.
That goes to what? Thou goest to what?
Land whither thou goest to possess it.
You going into this land to take over, to possess it, right? And the Lord is sending you in there. He's telling you before you even go in this land to possess it, remember this. Go ahead.
And have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites.
Stop right there. Stop right there. How many tribes, Native American Indian tribes, are equated to Florida before the oppressor got here? How many Native Indian tribes? You will hear about all types of Native Indian tribes all over America. You hear about other people that was here as well until our oppressor got here. What had to happen in order for Donald Trump to be the president now? Go ahead. They had to be destroyed. You cannot just go into a land that's inhabited by other people and take over without destroying the people that you're taking over. Now, this sounds crazy. This sounds harsh, right? But you can understand the Lord giving you something. It's no different than when we talk about rulership in heaven. You know what I'm saying? That's all people talk about in the world, and you know what I'm saying, in the church and everything else. I want to go to heaven. You want to go to heaven. But then when you look at what heaven was, when Christ was like, all them that will not, serve me, bring them before my face and slay them before my face. We talk about Christ actually killing niggas for not serving him. Do they ever talk about that? Did you ever hear that verse ever before you came into the truth?
Sir.
Bring them before me and slay them before. This Bible is about conquest. It's about rulership. It's about slavery. Now, when we hear that, that sounds like a bad thing. Why would you enslave a people? What you don't understand, because you've been going through the curses your entire life, is that there are people at the top and there's people at the bottom. You were never supposed to be the people of the bottom. You just chose not to serve the Lord. So now in Deuteronomy 7, Lord is breaking it down. The Hittites, the Girgashites, the Perizzites, all of these people was in this land. You get ready to go in there and take over this land, and I've drove them out. This is the same thing David is talking about. He's going into a land, and before he goes, he's making a statement. The Lord is on my side. I will not fear what a man can do to me. The Lord taketh my part, meaning he set aside a certain amount of land, a certain amount of things that he wants me to have, whether it be cattle, whether it be whatever. With them that help me. So the people that's on my side, the Lord is on our side. Therefore shall I see my desire upon them that hate me. What do you think David's desire was for them that hate him, Nishak? For them to die, for them to go, for them to be in chains, whatever, however you want to put it. Absolutely. Now, what he's saying is, I ain't looking at how strong. Remember, you know what I'm saying? David tried to number the people and all of that stuff. I don't know if this was before or after that, but here's the point. He wasn't supposed to, right? Because the Lord don't do strength in numbers. If you still believe in strength in numbers, you got to get rid of that. Because one man in here in his truth is worth 10 purple, soft, weak men. It's worth 10 brothers that got tassels on the end of their t-shirt that cannot come in and humble themselves and say, Khan out of one Khan, to a man that's serving the Lord, that changed his life, that's trying to help him do the same thing. Cannot take over their household, much less lead over a nation of Israelites that's trying to come back. Strength ain't with numbers with the Lord. Whoever ain't asking a question, put your phone on mute. All right. If you just coming into class, put your phone on mute unless you have a question. If you have a question, you can take your phone off mute and say excuse me or salakia. Excuse me, or in Hebrew salakia, and then wait to be called on. This is the best way we could do it in the conference line. All right. So now he's saying in Psalms 118 in verse 8, it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. You can have 1,000,000 men and they all be weak. And they all look at, you know what I'm saying? One of the brothers was telling me about in certain countries or whatever, they don't even have no army. They have militias and they fighting one of the greatest armies on the world. We celebrate every year the Passover when the Lord had the greatest army in the world. And they had the Israelites cornered after they let them leave out of Egypt. And they was about to kill all of them. And the Lord drowned that army in the sea and made sure it was known unto this day in 2020 that this thing happened. And we still celebrate it to this day. Keep reading at Deuteronomy 7. What verse you at? Go ahead. Go ahead. Remember that the Lord pushed out 7 nations that was greater and mightier. Not one nation that was better than you or mightier than you. Not 2 nations that had more people than you, but 7 nations the Lord pushed out in order to give this land to the Israelites. Go down to verse 8. It might be verse 7. It might be verse 7. Go to verse 7 first.
Verse 7. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor chose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people.
You see that, right? Ain't no strength in numbers when it comes to the children of Israel. Else the Lord could have just chose the biggest nation that he could have found. We was the fewest and the youngest nation on the planet Earth when the Lord said, these are going to be my people. What does that tell you? And by the time David comes on the scene, we getting our own land, right? We battling. David's taking over different lands, conquests. This is what he talking about. So when he talking about in verse 8, it's better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man, he's talking about going to war. He's basically saying that the Lord is with me and he's not with them. The only reason why we have an oppressor that we have who is not smarter than us, not stronger than us, he needs our engineers, our scientists. He needs all of the things that we produce in order for him to be great. The only reason he's able to rule on the top of us is because we chose not to serve our God, and we chose to serve ourselves and to serve other nations and other idols that belong to other gods. David did not. That's why he's saying it's better for me to trust in my God than to trust in man. I'm going to go in here and be successful. I'm going to destroy those that hate me. I'm going to conquer this land because I serve the Most High God of Israel. And it's better for me to trust in him than to trust in man.
Like it, sir.
Go ahead.
Is it safe to say, sir, that the Most High, like you say, he ain't with strength in numbers to show his power and his strength?
That's Romans 9. Somebody give me that real quick. Yeah. Absolutely. Romans 9, where it says, for this very same purpose have I raised up Pharaoh. Somebody give me that. Uriah, can you get me that? Since you chimed in, that's the precept.
Yes, sir. I'm headed to the slavery. I'm driving right now.
All right, no sweat. Recome. Trooper, Recome. You in the class? You got it for me? Yeah, where it say, for this same purpose have I raised up Pharaoh. I believe it's like 17, something like that. I'm just guessing. You got it? Go ahead. Go ahead. It was 17 for real? That was a lucky guess. Go ahead.
Romans chapter 9, verse 17. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth.
If the Lord just took the biggest group of people and said, I'm gonna make this my people. See, this is what people do, right? Even a lot of brothers, they don't come into the truth because they might look at, remember the purple cats had the show of force or whatever, where they put all the cats on purple for blocks and blocks and blocks, just purple niggas walking down the street, right? And cats might look at that and say, I want to be down with them. They got a lot of people, right? When you look at the scriptures and it say straight is the gate and narrow is the way, and many people don't find it. You know what I'm saying? It's a way. I remember, bless my Christian heart, when I was searching and found out I was an Israelite to come in, I.S.U.P.K was not the first place that I chose. Now, some of y'all brothers, y'all spirit rock with One West. You know what I'm saying? I remember, back, it was certain things that other people was laxed on that the UPK did not play around with. And it ain't because I.S.U.P.K is like that. It's because the Lord don't play around with certain things. Y'all follow me? So when you hear a brother like that's in here and there, they might say, why y'all so cocky, right? It ain't us. We ain't bragging. I ain't bragging on nothing that Kazak can do. I ain't bragging on nothing that Kawan can do or whatever. I will. But the only reason we anything is because the Lord is everything and we serve him. That's what David is saying. I ain't put my trust in no man. That's how I know I'm going to win. It's better to put trust in the Most High than to put trust in a man. Now, let me ask you this, Nashak. The person who was arguing with you about this, they pulled this to say that you can't trust no man, right?
No, it wasn't like, yeah, it was, she just said it to me, and she was like, you know what I mean, what's this?
So what about a man of God? You can't trust a man of God either?
Oh, God. That's what I, you know what I mean? Like, that was going to be like how I was going to come at it. Like, this isn't talking about, just, trusting, like, any man, like, because that's what I was, that was my first answer.
Let me tell you that is this person a Christian, right?
Nah, sir.
Not a Christian at all.
Nah.
What do they believe?
She's actually trying to, she believed the truth, though.
She can't believe the truth. Oh, she just had a question about this scripture.
No, she didn't say, you know what I mean? Actually, I think she got it from somebody else. You know what I mean?
Somebody cut her with it, so she brought it to you.
Right.
Okay. All right, so I'm breaking it down for you. She'll never be able to win that battle. Her job is to send people to you. Send people to a priest who's authorized and able to handle a situation like that. Just for the sake of the class that I'm teaching, somebody give me John 14:10 real quick. John 14:10. Go ahead, Ricon.
John chapter 14, verse 10. Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me.
Stop right there. All right, well, he already said it. Believest thou that I and the Father in me? The words that I'm saying to you, it ain't my own words. This is how I can be confident in saying the oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. It's in the Bible. This is how I be confident in saying that, the law is not done away with. It's in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? When people say put trust in the Lord and not in man, well, then that means you can't trust Christ because Christ was a man. You can't even trust Yahushua if that's the case. We grew up with like that. I remember when Master P said it on there, I don't even trust my own mama. Like that was something to say. That's how we trained in the hood, right? You don't trust your best friend. You don't trust your old lady. I don't trust nobody. That's hell. That's hell. Any brother in here that took the same oath I took and then passed his officer's test, I will trust with my life. I leave my woman at their house. I know ain't nothing gonna happen. I drop $100. They gonna pick it up and hand it right back to me. I expect that. When in the world, you expect a nigga to steal something from you. You expect a nigga to try to sleep with your old lady. You expect somebody to try to take something from you or do you dirty or do you wrong. Because they don't have the fear of the Lord in them. See, now I know that though these brothers understand that even if I don't get them back, it's coming. Because the scriptures say, be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Do the drug dealer understand that? Do the nigga that's out robbing every day, do he understand that? Maybe. Maybe if he do, Lord be with him. Because he taking a chance. I'm not taking that damn chance. That's why I'm in here. Right? But this is what Christ said. He doeth the works. That's the key. He out here walking on water, raising the dead, healing people and everything, and he didn't take no credit. Same thing David was saying. David was taking over lands and slaying all enemies of the Most High. And he was saying that he ain't taking none of the credit. The Lord is doing it. The Lord is allowing me to be successful. And when he stopped me, then that's when I'll stop. Just like when he stopped Pharaoh, that's when he stopped. You clear on this, right, Nashab?
Come, come, sir. The water.
All right, Most High in Christ. Any other questions?
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
Got a question on Mark chapter 9, verse 1.
All right, what's your question?
My question is, what do you mean by some of you that are standing here shall not taste death till the kingdom of God shall come in power? What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
All right, you familiar with what life is in the Bible?
Right, sir. The commandments,
What about the commandments?
they are life.
Yes, but I teach it a little bit different here so you can get a better understanding. Somebody tell them how I teach it to try to make sure. Yes, you're right. The commandments are life, but it's something else that go along with it. Anybody know? Go ahead.
You have to keep the commandments.
Okay, and what happens when you keep the commandments?
And you have rulership. Like you keep the commandments, you do what the Most High says with you, and you're above all other nations.
Okay, who asked the question about Mark 9?
Above all, sir.
All right, Hapop. One of the key things that we break down, especially for people who first coming in the truth, maybe we should probably go back to it at some point, maybe today, I don't know, but it's Deuteronomy 28. Are you familiar with that chapter? All right, Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1, he starts out by saying, if you will keep all the commandments which I give you today, then you'll be over all nations that's on the face of the earth. You familiar with that verse, right? Then he goes on to start talking about how blessed you're going to be by keeping those commandments. Your enemies will come in one way and flee three ways. You'll be blessed in the city, blessed in the field. Everything you put your hands to do, the Lord going to bless it, so on and so forth. That's life, right? That's life. He wasn't talking about just being alive. You following me or not? Okay, so now, you ever heard the term walking dead? That's people who are alive, right? But it's like they already dead.
Like we see every day.
Like we was before we were born again. Right? Okay, so when Christ is talking to, he's talking to people that are in the truth, right? And he's also telling them, if you go back and let's go back to verse 8. Let me chapter 8 real quick. Let me make sure before I make that statement that it's accurate. Hold on one second. I don't know why this thing going so slow. All right, let's see here. All right, it's a little different here. But what I was going to say is he's talking to people that's in the truth, right? And he's basically making sure that they on board. You know what I'm saying? So like when you go back, he's talking about take up your cross, do this, make sure it's like the scriptures say, know them that labor among you. So when you get to Mark chapter 9, verse 1, go ahead and read.
Shall not taste of death till they have seen the kingdom of God come
All right. So now, what you have to understand about Christ is Christ was a man, and a lot of times people didn't understand what he was saying because he wasn't speaking carnal. He wasn't speaking spiritually. He told the woman at the well, "I'm gonna give you this some water." He wasn't talking about water. When we talk about like milk, we ain't talking about milk. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of God. When he's talking now, he ain't talking about a literal death, like they ain't ever gonna die. He's speaking spiritual. Now let me ask you this: who can kill the spirit?
The Most High.
Who else?
You can kill your own spirit
How?
by going against the commandments constantly on purpose.
They ain't gonna kill your spirit. It's just gonna. Okay,
So
yeah, I guess so. You talking about heaven and hell, right?
I was talking about killing your own spirit.
You wasn't talking about heaven and hell. All right. Go ahead. Whoever says Salaki, go ahead, and then I'll explain what I mean. Hop.
Like Hebrews 4:12 speaks on killing the spirit.
What it say?
Hebrews 4:12 say, "For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joint and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intent of the heart."
All right. Let me go back before we get too away from what the brother's question is. Here's what I was gonna say. Life and death is heaven and hell, Hapop. Life is heaven. Death is hell. That's why when we say the walking hell, these are brothers the walking dead. These are brothers that's dead spiritually, walking around in hell. These are brothers with no hope, sisters with no hope, right? Life is in the commandments because it's going to allow you to get out of the hell and live. Once you understand that, then you understand, like, okay, have you ever died before?
Sir.
Are you sure?
Well, so like I said, I mean, I have died before. I came back in the regeneration.
Okay, true. Hapak, has Hapak ever died before? La. That was your. Yeah, I know. Good answer. Here's the thing. All right. When I asked you the question the first time, when I said, "Have you ever died before?" I was speaking spiritually, right? When I said Hapak, I was speaking carnally. Like at some point, we know everybody in here is going to die. We know that, right? Anybody in here not going to die?
Sir.
Right. So why would Christ make a statement like that? Even he died. They murdered him, right? He's not talking about physical carnal death. When he's speaking, he's talking about the death that all the other Israelites having to go through because they won't serve the Lord. That all the other Israelites have to go through for going against the Lord. It's talking about all of the things that they were already going through. They was under the Romans, right? If you know anything and you do any history, being under the Romans was hell. It was no different, if not worse, than what we're going through right now in America. And it was death and it was hell, right? But for the ones that came and walked with Christ, there was not the curses was coming up off them brothers. They wasn't. It's like we right now we going through hell. The whole world going through the coronavirus. They going through, you know what I'm saying, all this black on black crime and different things like that, right? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, the Lord is with the brothers that's in the truth. So like even though we still got to deal with how we're going to pay the rent at the end of the month, I know that if I get kicked out of my house or I don't have nowhere to stay, I'm going to stay with the shop. I'm going to stay with Kawan. I'm going to stay with some damn body. Maybe not them two, but I got 1,000 brothers that I'm going to stay with because of the brotherhood, right? The hell that I'm going through, I'm not going to deal with it the same way. The death that people suffer, the things that they go through for eating pork and for, doing things that they're not supposed to, and getting high, all the hell that come along with it, the death that comes along with it, I'm not going to go through that. I'll never see it. No matter how many times my spirit comes back, as long as I serve the Lord, serve Christ, I'll never see that hell that everybody else around me, all my brothers and sisters, is not. To the point where now I'm even going back to try to fight to make sure that they don't go through the hell that they're going through. That's the whole point in prophesying. That's the whole point in telling people, stop doing this and stop doing that. You don't want them to die. Did I lose you or you with me? It wasn't talking about physically. He talking about spiritually. That's why he said taste of death. Like, you ain't going to go through the hell that everybody else is going through because you serving the Lord. Even if you do, there's a way to get through it. The brotherhood is going to overcome everything. And this is what Christ was teaching them. You know what I'm saying? They going in different places. You don't never hear the brothers say, oh yeah, Salaki, I got to go to the slavery. Salaki, sir, I got to go to the slavery. I ain't going to be able to do that. They went from city to city trying to wake up the Lord's chosen people, and the Lord fed them. This is where you go in Matthew 6. It talks about take no thought for tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. But at the end of the day, if we going through, what it said in Deuteronomy 28, you're going to serve your enemies in hunger and thirst and want of all things. And ain't going to be no might and no power in your hand. But when Christ was telling his disciples, you're going to tread serpents and eat poison and not die and different things like that. What's the difference between them and everybody else? The truth. The truth is the difference. And that's why he could tell them, he said unto them, verily I say unto you, that there are some of them that stand here which shall not taste death till they have seen the kingdom of God come with power. Right? Right now, if I die, and the Lord decides to send me back here as a baby, the kingdom might not be here. The kingdom might be here. But this is my flesh dying. My spirit will never die. So he wasn't talking about, like a literal like death, because you got to think when you're speaking to an eternal being, somebody who knows that he's going to live forever, then now death ain't so frightening anymore. You see what I'm saying? Niggas look at death and the truth like, all right, I'll be back. I'll be back. We afraid of that because they were told us that once you die, you go to heaven and hell, and that's where you at. So we looking at it like that. You can't look at it like that. You got to look at death as a lifestyle that the results and the judgment of God from not keeping the commandments. And those brothers that were standing with Christ, some of them he was saying was not. Now you got to remember, some of them left, went back in the world. So not everybody that was rolling with him was going to not taste death. But the ones that stuck by him, those are the ones that's going to receive crowns. And he was saying they wasn't going to taste death, the things that come along with not serving the Lord until the kingdom came. They was going to see the kingdom came. Now look at we 2,000 years later. Everybody's dead. Everybody's dead that he said that to. But everybody's alive because of reincarnation, because of the Lord taking on the Lord's spirit, and the Lord's spirit never died. So that's what this is talking about. Is it clear? You understand it? You familiar with the reincarnation scriptures?
I'm familiar about them, but not where they located at.
Do you need them? All right, so let's run through some of them real quick. Give me the one Nah, matter of fact, I'll grab it. Hold on. Somebody give me the one in the Apocrypha. Somebody else give me the one in Psalms. Otherwise, it's gonna sound like I'm just making up something. So let me give you some precepts. In the meantime, anybody else got any questions about what I was just saying about this scripture right here? Mark 9. I come across this scripture a lot, especially with Old Testament Israelites. Old Testament Israelites like to bring this out and say Christ made a prophecy that these people would never die. And that's not what he was saying at all. It's another one where Christ said, when I come into my kingdom, you shall. It was when Peter asked, what shall we have? Somebody give me that one too. Anybody got any other precepts I asked for? All right, no sweat. I'm out to go get them. All right, Officer Kawan, you there? You got the one in Psalms. I think it's Psalms 90. Can you grab me that one? All right. Somebody else give me Matthew 19 and 27. Somebody got Matthew 19 and 27? Go ahead and read that. Matter of fact, hold that. Somebody give me Second Esdras. Second Esdras chapter 14, 34. Go ahead. It's Psalms 104. Salakia. Psalms 104. 29. Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and go ahead. Who said Salakia? All right, hold that one till after we do Psalms 104. Go ahead to Psalms 104.
Chapter 104, verse 29. Thou hidest thy face. They are troubled. Thou takest away their breath. They die and return to their dust.
So if you go in Ecclesiastes, 1 second. You go to Ecclesiastes, it'll tell you when you die, the dust returns to the ground, the body returns to the dust from which it came, and the spirit goes back to the Lord who gave it. Are you familiar with that scripture, Pop? All right, cool. That's why we here. That's why we here. The water. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it.
So that's what happens when you die. The dust returns to the earth, but that spirit does not die. Even if you, in science, they say that energy never dies. It never stops. That's the spirit. They don't know how to explain it, but that's the best way they can do it in science. In the scriptures, it says, when you die, then shall the dust return to the earth as it was. This ain't nothing that we got. This little vehicle we call a body. It's going to rot. It's going to be destroyed. but your spirit returns back to the Lord who gave it. So you got that scripture now. That's the basis of what we're talking about. You understand that, right? So Pop? All right, back to where the brother was at in Psalms 104, 29. This is talking about what happens when the Lord is getting ready to take you up out of here. Like you can pray and do everything you want to, but the Lord has decided that you're not going to live. This is what happens. Go ahead and read it again.
Verse 29. Thou hidest thy face. They are troubled. Thou takest away their breath. They die and return to their dust.
That's the same thing that it's saying in Ecclesiastes, right? He took away their breath, they die, and then their body returns to the earth, to the dust. Keep going with. Let's get the spirit part in Psalms.
Thou sendest forth thy spirit. They are created.
Remember, all spirits belong to the Most High. So it say, thou sendest forth thy spirit. They are created. Who is the they? The they is the same they that he took their breath. That spirit went back to the Most High. Now he's sending forth that spirit and creating a new person with that same spirit. Keep going. From they are created. Start there.
And thou renewest the face of the earth.
They are created, and thou renewest the face of the earth. Keep going.
The glory of the Lord shall endure forever. The Lord shall rejoice in his work.
The Lord rejoiceth in taking that spirit that he made, possibly thousands of years, our time, but he's an eternal being. He glories in renewing this earth with those same spirits. They come back in the earth in a different, as a baby, in a different body. All right, you understand that, Hapak, right? Give me the second Esdras. Shakar.
This is the book of 2 Esdras, chapter 14, verse 34. Therefore, if so be that you will subdue your own understanding and reform your hearts, you shall be kept alive.
Here's the point. This is life, right? You said life was in the commandment. If you will stop thinking how you think, you know what I'm saying? We love this and we love that and we love this. And you start to love what the Lord loves and hate what the Lord hates. You know what I'm saying? We talk about this all the time. If the, how it was taught to me, Capture Oil will tell you all the time, like, you know what I'm saying? I never had a problem with honey baked ham and pepperoni and crab legs, and shrimp was one of my favorite things to eat in the world. Extra butter, right? But the Lord hated it, so I don't like it no more. Right? Big booty hoes, whatever you want, weed, all of it. It's great. It's wonderful. The Lord hated it. I don't like it no more. This is me subduing my own understanding. What's wrong with tuna? What in the hell is wrong with tuna? Ain't nothing wrong with tuna. The Lord hate it. I hate it. It don't matter what I understand about it, what I think about it. If you shall subdue your own understanding, right, and reform your heart, which is your mind, you shall be kept alive. That's what you said from the jump. Life in the commandments. Keep going. After death, you shall obtain mercy. Keep going. Hold on, wait. Hapak, if you dead, how you gonna get mercy? You dead. How you gonna get some mercy then? Go ahead and read the next one. Read the next verse out. For after death shall the judgment come. Now, I skipped this part in the reincarnation breakdown, but in Ecclesiastes it says, and I saw under the sun the place of judgment. That's on the earth. Judgment comes on the earth, right? So after you dead, you're going to get judgment. How you gonna get judgment? Read the next part.
Oh God, when we shall live again.
When we shall do what?
Live again.
That's how you're gonna get judgment. Some of the hell you catching now could be something that you've done before you were ever born in this body, but your spirit will be judged. Now, there's a scripture says appointed to a man one time to die, and after that judgment, you ain't coming back as a pop. You ain't coming back with the same mama and daddy. You ain't coming back looking like this and being in this same body. It don't work like that. You're not the same person. But that spirit, that vibe, that energy is the same vibe. You get that, right? All right. Keep reading.
Oh God. And then shall the names of the righteous be manifest, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared.
That's how it's gonna work. Then you go, you know what I'm saying? If you was a man of God, you're going to be a man of God. If you was ungodly, you're going to be put in a position to where you gonna think more about trying to get closer to the Most High and change, or you're just gonna continue to go through hell over and over again because your spirit refuses to change. It is against the Lord. Now, in the truth, we put off our own spirit and become one with the spirit of the Most High. Now, give me that Matthew that I called for. So let's go back. Remember, Christ was talking to his disciples when he said, some of you that's here shall not see death until the kingdom comes, right? This is what he was talking about, Pop. The people that's following him are not going to go through the hell that the other people go through because they changed their life. Now, not to say when you come in the truth, you ain't never going to go through nothing. But what I'm saying is you're not going to go through it the same way a nigga in the world go through it. You could go through the exact same situation, but you're going to handle it differently. The Lord is going to be with you, and you'll get through it. And if nothing else, you'll have brotherhood, which is something that is scarce, almost non-existent in the world. Whoever got the scripture, come on with it.
Come on, sir. Book of Matthew, chapter 19 and verse 27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore?
Then Peter asked a great question. We done left our everything. We left our wives. We left our household. We done walked off our job to come and do this work. What we got? What we gonna get out of doing this? Most people scared to ask that question. Peter was not. Go ahead, Up.
Verse 28. And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me,
Everybody. He said, I say unto you that everybody. You that have followed me, go ahead. In the what? In the what? Somebody get me that word in the Bible dictionary. What is regeneration? Hapok, if you had to guess what he's talking about when he said regeneration, what does that mean? Absolutely. That's it. Now, if they were never going to die, he talking to the same people. Why would he say in the regeneration? You which that followed me in the regeneration, keep reading.
In the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory.
Stop. When Christ was here, before they murdered him, did he ever sit on a throne? Christ knew everything that was going to happen to him. He knew they was going to take him out. He knew how it was going to happen, what it was going to look like. He begged the Lord for him to not have to go through it. He's telling those that follow him, Y'all who done left everything and follow me in the regeneration, meaning it ain't wasn't gonna happen in that lifetime that they was gonna get rewarded. When the Son of Man shall sit on the throne of his glory, keep going.
Ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
That's what it is right there. That's what it is right there. In the regeneration, you're going to get life, the kingdom that he was talking about, that they wasn't going to taste death until they see it. So if they had them same spirits coming back within the earth that followed Christ when nobody else on the planet did, nobody, these niggas did. They was there, willing to die and chop people ear off, and they know that they had an army and all of this. They rolled with Christ. They watched him walk on water, did everything. Y'all who believe me when nobody else believe me, when in the regeneration, that means when the kingdom comes and I'm sitting on my throne, y'all gonna be right there with me. That's what he was talking about. But he was saying they're not gonna go through the hell like everybody else because of the things that he taught them. We can go through hell, but if you going through it with your brother, you going through it with, you know what I'm saying, a righteous woman by your side and your brothers by your side and things like that. It's a much different thing than you going through it with some nigga that you cannot trust or some broad that you cannot trust. You see what I'm saying? It's a much different thing. When you ain't serving the Lord, you cannot expect him to be on your side. But when you are, you have to expect him to be on your side because he don't lie, and that's what he said he was gonna do. So Christ was, that's what he was saying. He was talking about you, it's gonna be a regeneration, and that might not be the one when you come back next time. But the one when you do come back and I'm sitting on my throne, you gonna reign with me. You get it, Hip-Hop? All right, Most High in Christ. All right, any other question? Everybody put your phone on mute if you're not answering the question. Go ahead, whoever said they had a question.
I had a question on Matthew 20, 21, and 21 and 20.
Matthew chapter 20 or chapter 21?
Chapter 21, sir.
Chapter 21 and what verse?
Verse 12.
All right, what was the question?
The question is, what was the temple that was the house of prayer?
Oh yeah, by the way, did somebody get that in the Zone of Advance? Regeneration.
No, I can't.
Go ahead and read it for me real quick.
No. So you want me to read it?
Yeah, Khan.
Regeneration as a basic idea, to be born again or to be restored. Though the word is actually used only twice in the New Testament, many synonym passages suggest its basic meaning. Related terms are born again, born of God, quickened, and renewed. Regeneration is, therefore, spiritual change wrought in the heart of man.
Where you reading this definition from?
Bible Dictionary, page 710.
All right, Most High in Christ. All right, so it's saying quicken and make alive. So it's basically saying when Christ was made alive in the regeneration. That word is also synonymous with reincarnation, which wasn't a word at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta understand what he's talking about. When it says to be made alive, that means you was dead. You made alive, reborn, so on and so forth. So that's what that word means. All right, what verse was you at, Magazar? That was Magazar, right? What verse you was at?
Verse 12, sir.
Your question is, what was the temple? What
temple was the house of prayer?
All right. Where you see the word house of prayer?
In verse 13.
All right, go ahead and read it.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 21 and verse 12. And Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats.
This don't sound like a peaceful protest to me. How about y'all? This ain't no peace. This ain't taking a knee. This ain't screaming no justice, no peace. But this was okay. You gotta understand the times you was in, right? What happened is, once Rome took over, they placed under them certain people who they assigned to rule over the niggas. When I say the niggas, I'm talking about Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that was there. They had people to rule over them. Who was those people? Anybody? Go ahead. The Sadducees and the Pharisees, right? The Pharisees, these are different fractions of what now you could look at like the mega churches or the big time preachers or whatever the case may be. Now, a lot of these cats was Israelites that was put over to watch other Israelites. Now, what law did they use to keep the people in place? They used the law of Moses. So these people used the law of Moses, right? But at the same time, they got ATMs in the church. They selling holy water. I'm giving you examples of the things that they were doing then that you understand now. What's the dude be on TV? God, that dude there. What's his name? You buy one of these prayer cloths, and it's gonna change your life. Cats like that. Go ahead. Who knows? Yeah, that cat. Right. You had these people even in those times. Basically, the faith that the people had. Remember, we talk about all the time how the people who were supposedly following the law of God were just, they knew what the consequence was for breaking the law. So now, if I know I'm going to do something wrong, I can go in here and buy a dove and sacrifice the dove, or sacrifice that dove, right? And then I could just do whatever sin I was going to do anyway. You see you see the spirit on a Magazine, what's going on? Not only that, they got money exchanges. In other words, people came from different parts of the world, whatever, exchange money. They wasn't doing the people right. They taking money from the poor people. All of these things are going on right there in the temple, which is supposed to be the house of God. Right? So verse 12, and Yahushua went into the temple of God and cast out them that sold and bought in the temple. It's basically like they go in there, that's they hustle. They go in there to hustle. They ain't going in there to worship. They ain't going in there to help nobody get clean. They going in there for the simple fact to make money. Now, do we know anybody like that now that goes to church on Sunday simply to make money? To extort the people? So this is what Christ thought about it. Go ahead. Y'all get it both sides hand, Barakatah, y'all shot for that. Not now. It ain't happening right now. All right. But you know they still trying to get them, right? anyway, anyways, so Christ went into the temple and overthrew the tables of the money table. I mean, he flipping over tables and all. And the seats of them that sold doves. Go ahead to verse 13.
Verse 13. And say unto them, it is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves.
You got to remember, these people were supposed to be following and keeping the laws of Moses. The Lord gave in Deuteronomy and Leviticus, all of it. You had the priesthood, right? Remember what Christ said about the Pharisees. They sit in Moses' seat. They telling you what to do in the law. Do it. But they ain't doing it at all. They putting burdens on y'all that they themselves would not bear. This is what Christ said. I believe that's Matthew 5. But here's what I'm saying. He said that to them it's written in the scriptures that the Lord's house is going to be called a house of prayer. This is where people are supposed to be going to atone for their sins, to make sure that they don't do it again. It's where people are supposed to learn about how to serve the Most High properly. And y'all niggas done turned it into a den of thieves. It's basically like they had a dice game in there. It's basically like they got they running numbers. They doing everything in there to make money, and none of it has anything to do with saving and bringing people back to the Most High. That's what Christ was talking about. So the house of prayer that he was talking about is the temple, the original temple that was spoken about in the Old Testament. But by the time it got up under the Romans with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they wasn't doing none of the stuff that they were supposed to be doing in there. They made it basically like a Walmart. Or you know how Walmart, they got in the front of it, you might have a salon, you might have a bank, you might have, you know what I'm saying, people doing taxes, you got all this other stuff. But they was doing that right in the temple. You understand, Magazar?
I was just trying to figure out what was the temple. It was the actual temple, right?
Yeah, it was the actual temple. It was actual. Yep.
Because I'm thinking like how like the Bible says, the Most High is your temple. I was thinking like in that sense.
Nah. Okay. Now, when it says the your body is the temple of God, it's talking about the same thing we was talking about earlier. It's separating your physical body from your spirit. And now, instead of the Lord being at a certain place, he inhabits the men and women who change their life. Okay, so the Lord will come in Magazar, and it will cause Magazar to do something different than what he would do when he was the brother who was before you became Magazar. You understand what I'm saying? So now you serve the Lord. You walk this way. You talk this way. You don't do this. You don't eat that. You will not do this. When you might be a brother that frequent the strip clubs, you know what I'm saying? I ain't saying you per se, but anybody. Brother in here might have been a brother that ate pills every day and tricked and did everything wrong and served dope and all of that. Well, now you have the spirit of the Lord on you. You're not going to do those things anymore. So that's what it's talking about. The Lord's spirit was supposed to inhabit the temple. Now your body is the temple, meaning the Lord's spirit inhabits you. You get it? All right, but this is talking about a literal building.
A literal building. I know it's one verse that I remember that says, "The Most High does not dwell in temples made with hands."
Yeah, but okay. So it's just like with the school, right? We getting to school right now. Whatever the hell was going on in that building, that's what was going on in that building. When we come in there, it's men of the Lord. We bringing the Lord's spirit in there because the Lord's spirit is in us. So it ain't saying that the Lord's spirit can't go into a building. It's saying that.
Okay. I got you.
You understand? It's saying it's going into the people. You can go into a building that is beautiful and has everything that it said in Leviticus how it's supposed to be set up. This cubit by this and the gold this and the menorah this and all of this. And if the people that's in it, the brothers in it, don't love each other, and they hateful, and they prideful, and they not like Christ at all, then this building is still wicked, even though it's got everything that the law says it's supposed to have. Well, it's the same thing with the Pharisees. They didn't understand brotherhood. They didn't understand the spirit behind the law. They wasn't walking with the spirit of the Most High. They was just some niggas in a big beautiful building. All right. Any other questions? Go ahead.
In Matthew's 11, 1 through 3, is that basically like one of the reasons why you would say John was not in the truth or wasn't a disciple of Christ?
Let me get there. All right, so now for those who don't know, it's a big, I would call it it's a big thing now. That's the thing. The new thing is whether or not John was in the truth, right? And you're going to get a lot of people that's going to argue this. The reason why, especially when it comes to off-brand Israelites or people who don't want to come into the fold and be a part of the truth, which means like the original group that started, you know what I'm saying, back in 1969. In other words, like if I want to say and go make, I don't know, I want to call mine the Gangster Hebrews. I want to make me a group called the Gangster Hebrews, and we wear button up shirts, you know, like that with fringes on the bottom, and that's how we roll, and we take um all of the precepts that I done learned in the I.S.U.P.K. But I don't want to be up under Commanding General YAHANNA. I don't have to follow no man. And here they want you to say yes sir. I'm gonna go start my own group, and then I'm gonna have brothers say yes sir to me. But I ain't finna say yes sir to nobody else, right? So now we got the gangster Israelites or whatever group you want to name. They'll fight to say that John was in the truth because John wasn't one of the 12 disciples. We say John was not in the truth. John did a great work in the truth, preparing the world for Christ, which was his job, but he never came and followed Christ. And during the time that Christ was doing his thing, John still had his own disciples. All right, so everybody follow me there. Now, Matthew chapter 11, the brothers asking, is this one of the reasons why we say John wasn't in the truth? Go ahead and start at verse 1.
Matthew chapter 11, verse 1. And it came to pass, when Yahushua had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. Now when John had heard in the prisons the works of Christ, he sent two of his disciples and said unto him, art thou he that should come, or do we look for another?
What is he saying by saying that? So basically Christ is doing his thing. He's out, he's holding camp, he's in the temples preaching and teaching brothers and sisters. He got his brothers, he built the camp. They working. He got 12 disciples, they got departments, same way we doing it right now, right? Now John heard about all the things Christ was doing. He sent two of his own disciples. Now let me ask you this, right? If there's no way to get to the Father but through Christ, and this brother's out here doing his own thing and he got his own disciples, was John or was John not in the truth? He wasn't in the truth. He had a break off Israelite group, right? That's what he was doing. He was, you know what I'm saying? All John's disciples wore purple or red and white or whatever, or all white. They wasn't doing what Yahushua was doing. Now, not only did he have his own disciples, so that means he's teaching his own thing. He's still baptizing with water, all of these things, right? Even though Christ said we was going to baptize with the Spirit. Now, Not only that, but he sent back his disciples to question Christ to see if he was the one. Now remember this, when Christ came to him, he knew he was the one. Remember, Christ came to him to be baptized. What did John say to Christ? Go ahead.
He said that there comes one mightier than I.
Not then. When Christ came to get baptized, what he said to him was, "You should be baptizing me." Anybody familiar with that? Somebody grab that.
Okay.
Somebody grab that. When Christ went to go get baptized. This is important because this happened before this. Anyways, he said to his disciples to ask Christ, while Christ is in the midst of holding camp and building a school and teaching his disciples and got them going to different cities, he asking him, "Are you the one that was supposed to come, or should we look for somebody else?" Do you think he knew the answer to that? Let's see. Go ahead with the precept out. Remember, we was in Matthew 11 now. We just go back all the way to 3. Go ahead.
I'm going to start at 1, sir, for the context.
Go ahead.
So, in those days came John the Baptist preaching in the wilderness of Judea.
That was his job. That was his job. That's what he's supposed to have been doing because Christ wasn't on the scene yet. Go ahead.
Repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. For this is he that was spoken of by the prophet Isaiah.
This is what John was teaching. Go ahead, my little cousin, he's teaching. My little cousin is the dude that they was talking about. I know him. Go ahead,
The voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord, make his path straight. And the same John had his raiment of camel's hair and a leathern girdle about his loins, and his meat was locusts and wild honey.
So the brother rolled like officer in the shop. Brother, Salaki in the shop. You don't feel no type of way about that, right? The brother had his own style going. That's all. Go ahead,
Then went out to him Jerusalem and all Judea and all the region round about Jordan, and were baptized of him in Jordan, confessing their sins. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to his baptism, he said unto them, O generation of vipers, who hath warned you to flee from the wrath to come?
Now think about this right here. John in the wilderness doing this, right? The Lord has sent John to do this. If you go back to Malachi, he said he was going to send Elijah to prepare the way for Christ, right? So now this is 1,000 years later. We done went through the whole thing with the Greek captivity. Now we up under the Romans. Now this time is coming, right? John comes beforehand. He's now started the baptism. It was a symbolic way for brothers and sisters to make a gesture to the Most High to say, hey, I'm washing off all of these things, this filth that I had on me, and I'm going to become and serve the Lord from now on, right? Which is something that the Lord instituted for a time. Now, even the brothers and sisters that we were just talking about in the temples, they was over Israel. They could have had John killed. They could have had John took out and told him not to do it. But they come into his baptism. What this does show you is that John had some clout. John had a little bit of popularity. People knew who John was, and they respected him as a man of God. Even the Sadducees and Pharisees. And while they doing that, He breaking it down to them, calling them snakes and all types of stuff. Like who told y'all niggas to come? It's like if you know, like, I don't know, a rapper or a drug dealer or something start coming to class. You know what I'm saying? I remember they was talking about what's the dude name from down bottom? He found out he was Israelite or something like that. It wasn't go ahead. No. It's a brother in Florida. He think he locked up now. Kodak Black, right? One time they was big on Kodak Black. Oh yeah, he done found out he was an Israelite. He said, I don't know, he happened to mention something, some Israelite group that he done learned or whatever, right? So I was over the I was over the promotion, internet promotions. I done inboxed the brother with all the information to the Florida school, right? Never got a response. Here's the point. If he came, I'd be like, who the hell sent him in here? Like, who told him about this? How did you find out about the truth? If TD started coming to class, name the biggest, who is the biggest preacher in Boynton Beach or West Palm or Miami? If he started coming to class, you're gonna be like, what you doing here? He got a whole following. He got a whole church. You feel me? That's how John was with the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Like, oh, y'all niggas ain't right. I gotta keep my eyes open. It might be some reason why you here that I don't know about. He didn't trust them. So that's what's going on. Keep going, Kawan.
Sir, if I may, go ahead, drop down to 13 to get to the point.
Yeah, go ahead.
The book of Matthew, chapter 3, verse 13. Then cometh Yahushua from Galilee to Jordan unto John to be baptized of him. But John forbade him, saying, I have need to be baptized of thee, and comest thou to me?
You see that? So hold on. Let me ask you a question. How long had John known Yahushua?
Since before the womb, when they was in the womb.
That's his people. That's his fam. That's his blood. That's his cousin. He done ran across this brother his whole life. Now he coming to him. He already know who he is. Here, he's saying, you coming to me to get baptized? You should be baptizing me. It's like what brother said, if I had your hand, I'd cut mine off. If I could beat you for one day, you know what I'm saying? All of that stuff, Bill was like talking like, come on, let me give this man his props. Bro, I already know who you is. You coming to me? Like, come on now. You know I ain't nobody. But you the man. Brother going back and forth. You the man. Nah, you the man. He coming. Yahushua coming to him. He like, hey, you should be baptizing me. Now he know this all the way back before Christ ever got baptized. Now read, keep reading.
Answering said unto him, suffer it to be so now, but thus it becometh us to fulfill all righteousness. Then he suffered him.
Okay, so Yahushua saying back to him, just allow me to do this. Let me do this right here because it gotta happen. This is how the Lord wanted to happen. It's basically like, yeah, okay. I say this all the time, and I got this from another brother who got ranked. Okay, when Commanding General YAHANNA came into the truth, he didn't just come into truth and become a general, right? He put on all black and came into truth just like you did. Everybody understand? He earned his rank just like you will. It's just like Yahushua just went out and started his own group. He came up under John. I know, I'm letting it marinate for a minute. Now, even when brothers come in the truth and you know they're going to do great things, it's brothers that's going to come in the truth after you that are going to be preferred before you, which is what John was saying the whole time. I'm doing my thing, but this brother right here is going to be great in this truth. The Lord is going to allow him to do things that I cannot do. I ain't even worthy to tie this brother's shoes. Now, when Yahushua come to him to get baptized, he like, you should. But now, Christ like, nah, just let it happen. Let me go ahead and go through the same thing everybody else is going through in order to change their life. So they can't say I'm just doing my own thing out here. Even the Sadducees and Pharisees is coming to you to get baptized. Why am I like I'm too good to do it? Humble yourself in order to become great. Everybody understand that, right? Now check this out though. So Yahushua say, all right, let's do this. Let me do it. Let's do it this way, and just allow it to happen, even though you think you know that I'm gonna be great. Now this way before he's sending his disciples to come ask this question: are you the one, or should we follow another one? He knew him his whole life. Not only that, but watch what happened when he do baptize him. Go ahead, keep going.
And Yahushua, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened unto him, and he saw the Spirit of the power descending like a dove.
Stop.
And lighting.
Stop. That ain't happened when he baptized the Pharisees. None of them. All the hundreds of people that came to John, none of that happened. Is if there's a question of who Yahushua is, and if you need another one, here is the proof. Here is the proof. The Spirit of God came down when Yahushua was baptized. What did he say? Keep going.
And lighting upon him, and lo, a voice from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased."
So now, how in the hell he gonna ask this question in Matthew 11? He saw this. This happened when he baptized him. He spoke about his coming before he came. Hey, there's one coming after me. He gonna be a bad brother. I ain't worthy to tie his shoe. Now, when he baptized him, he get the voice coming out of heaven that tell him that this the one. And he gonna ask this. Now, was this nigga in the truth or not? Go ahead. What you say? Brother, we following Yahushua. We ain't never seen nothing like that. Yahushua say some gonna look for a sign and they ain't gonna get it. He said, blessed are you that follow me, that haven't seen miracles, because some just following me because they seen miracles. We reading about the miracles thousands of years later and saying, this the dude right here. He was there. He's seen it. And he's still asking the question. Why do you think he's asking the question? DeAndre. I want DeAndre to answer this. Go ahead.
I think he's answering. He's asking this question either because he don't want to believe or
what?
I don't know.
All right, let me help you out. Me and you had this conversation, right? We was talking about this sidebar, right? Verse 2 tells you why. At the end, after the comma in verse 2, it says, he sent 2 of his disciples. Where the hell he get disciples from? John sent 2 of his disciples. Where he get them from?
I got it. Because he didn't want to get in all black.
That's it.
He want to still keep his title.
That's it. He's Sakari. He's Rakashiar. He's whatever, insert name here. He's them. They know where the truth at. Every time they used to ask, I remember when I first came in the truth, when Gorilla Hebrew was first starting that group. A lot of them brothers used to be in Thursday night General Muhammad's class every Thursday. I've met brothers that's in other Hebrew Israelite groups that say, yeah, when Captain Zariak or General Muhammad is teaching, I'm always watching. But they ain't finna come in here and put on all black. They not finna humble themselves. They not gonna get rid of their Hebrew name that they gave themselves or that some other organization gave them and become born again and really be in the truth. John was not finna give up that power because of his pride. He's them niggas. Go ahead.
Can I say in other terms that those guys, John the Baptist, didn't want to follow the rank?
He didn't want to what?
Follow the rank.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the thing. It's a whole video I got up on I.S.U.P.K. No Cowards Florida School on YouTube. It's about rank and order, right? It takes three things in order to follow Christ, right? In order to follow Christ, you got to keep the commandments, right? That's number one. You got to keep the commandments. You got to deny yourself, and you got to come up under rank and order. So, like, even to the sisters, they not finna get in here and teach no classes, go to camp. General YAHANNA is not gonna give my woman no order. You know what I'm saying? That's for me to do. So her serving in rank and order is serving me. But to me serving in rank and order is serving the men above me. Christ, you know what I'm saying, is the head of every man. So I'm serving Christ. The man is the head of woman. She's serving me. Christ served the Most High. This is what the scriptures say, right? So now, it's exactly that. He might have been keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, right? But he didn't deny himself, and he didn't come and serve in rank and order. It's only one head, one God, one faith, one baptism, one body. Why this nigga got his own body separated? So to answer your question, this is one of the reasons. But all the other ones I'm naming is other reasons why John the Baptist wasn't in the truth. But you get it, right? You get it, right, DeAndre? Just like I said to you last night, John the Baptist wouldn't even do what you do. Come in here and put on all black. Humble yourself. You don't have to. You could be just like every other nigga out here. I ain't listening to ain't no other man gonna tell me no. All right, nigga, go ahead and die. Go out there and do whatever you doing. Let the police shoot you down in the streets. And niggas will put your name on a shirt and have protests for you. And then when the 4th of July come, they'll forget all about you. Go ahead and be him.
Hello, sir.
Go ahead.
Would it also be safe to say, like if we were doing a breakdown, could we also say that John the Baptist, he picked up the same spirit as the Pharisees and Sadducees?
Okay.
Not wanting to give up.
Go ahead, finish.
So long, sir. Not wanting to give up this seat.
Oh, okay, yeah. You talk about when they said they got to kill Christ because if he keep getting people to follow him, they was gonna lose their place. That's what you talking about? Yeah. But here's the thing: the difference between John and the Sadducees and Pharisees. The Sadducees and Pharisees got their power from the government. John did not. John went about following the Most High. But once he baptized and he seen that voice come down from heaven, the heavens open up, and the Lord say, "This is my beloved son in whom I'm..." He's supposed to get in line under him. Pass the torch, and now you follow this man because you ain't even worthy to tie his shoes. You said it yourself. He should be baptizing you. You said it yourself. Now you want to come back after the government done locked you up and ask the question, are you the one or should we look for another? Nigga, humble yourself. This brother is raising the dead out here. What the hell you doing? Everybody understand? DeAndre, did I answer your question? Most High in Christ. Any other questions? Go ahead.
I had a question. Actually, I'm not sure what scripture that was. You know the scripture where it says you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah.
Did I get a breakdown?
Yeah. What you don't understand what that mean?
Is that good or is that bad or what's that scripture? What's breakdown?
All right. Okay. This goes all the way back to the question that Nashak asked. Were you in class at the beginning of class, or I know sometimes you have to come in late or whatever. Was you there at the beginning of class when Nashak asked about the songs where David was talking about not putting faith in man, but putting faith in the Most High?
I think I came a little later than that.
Okay. All right, let me explain it to you. Okay, so we talk about it a lot. I had a brother that's in the school who comes and talks to me about certain types of training that he feel like we should have as far as brothers who do what we do. And being that the brother has knowledge in a particular area, he feel like this or whatever. So, okay, even though it's cool and it is great and it's something that we should, I agree. At the end of the day, what you have to understand about what we're doing is if the Lord don't get involved, if the Lord has nothing to do with it, we're going to lose every battle that we have. Right? The battle that we have, the biggest battle is ourselves, not to be John. Let's say the Lord allows me to raise up North Florida to be great. We got hundreds and hundreds of brothers in North Florida that's changing their life and serving the Lord and building families, and they got wives and they got kids and they teaching them the law, statutes, and commandments, and it's popping. The moment I start to think it got something to do with me and things that I did, I'm losing. I'm on the verge of falling out the truth myself. That's what we talking about. John wasn't eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. John wasn't murdering people. John was keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. He didn't come under rank and order, right? What he was talking to Peter about is he never gave him the order to slice no damn body ear off. That was him acting on his own. It's Matthew 26, I believe, and 50. Somebody give me that. What you got to understand is in the military, right? You can have a sniper or something like that. They can have the target in their crosshairs, but they cannot take the shot until they're given the order. If they do it too quick, if they do it at the wrong time, they could kill this person, and it can be a whole big war behind it that you might not win. You just got this one person. They always talk about winning the battle is not the same thing as winning the war. You can win a battle, but that don't mean you won the war, right? There's certain battles they'll talk about, and these people won the battle, but they did not win the war. You ever heard that term, BLACKWATCH? Okay, so what Christ was saying, the thing that he was going to do, he already knew they was going to come and kill him and all of this. The Lord already showed it to him. He done been praying all night that the Lord take this cup from him, and at the end of the day, the Lord said, yo, you got to do this. So he said, nevertheless, not my will, but yours. Right? Now, when it come down to the come down, Christ is not fighting. You think about it. Christ could have picked up a sword and went at it and said, you know what, y'all gonna have to kill me now. Y'all not finna drag me down the street, make a public mockery of me, hang me on a cross, and play games with me and wrap me up in this cloth. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not finna go through all that. We're gonna shoot it out. Let's go ahead and get it done. Here go my sword. I know y'all, you know what I'm saying? It's like some brothers think they're gonna do with the police or whatever. Like, I'ma just go ahead. They just gonna have to kill me. You hear brothers say that all the, oh, they just gonna have to kill me. I ain't gonna let them do me like that. Christ chose to give his life to be a martyr for the sake of him being a sacrifice for the Most High and the Lord's people. Peter, who was acting within his emotions, could not understand it and therefore wanted to fight. Like, come on now, we can go out. His point was to prove that he had Yahushua's back. Like, nigga, I'm not gonna let them do nothing to you. Whenever you in the truth, right? And you ready to fire something up, you ready to do something amazing, you ready to do something that you think is gonna help the situation, and your camp leader tell you to stand down, nigga. Then you're gonna see whether you a soldier or whether you a rebel. And there's a difference. All right, so go ahead and give me Matthew chapter 26 verse 50 BLACKWATCH.
Matthew chapter 26 verse 50. And Yahushua said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Yahushua and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Yahushua stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear.
Y'all ain't just finna come in here and take my camp leader like that. Damn that. Damn that. He could not contain himself and watch them go. He knew they was gonna kill him too. Oh, hell no, I'm going too. I'm going out too. But it wasn't his job to die for the sins of the world, meaning the sins of Israel. It was only Yahushua's. Somebody give me the definition of camp per Hebrew Academy. What's a camp? Anybody who ain't been through Hebrew Academy may have never heard this. Anybody been through Hebrew Academy on the line know the answer? All right. A camp, per definition that we got from Hebrew Academy, is a group of brothers willing to give their life for the truth and a camp leader and a leader who will not let any of them die. Y'all understand that or no? You going out to camp, you got to be willing to give your life for the camp leader. But it's his responsibility that you all make it home alive. Y'all see how that worked? Okay. This brother was willing to give his life for Yahushua. Yahushua's job to make sure that he didn't die that night. All right? So, brother done smote off the ear. Now, think about this. You talking about the Roman soldiers. You can see movies about how they military was, they government was. They already had us up under the, they was doing what they wanted to do with us. They gave us our leaders and everything. This dude done cut the ear off the nigga. What you think was finna happen to him? It's a brother just took a taser from a cop and pointed the taser at him in Atlanta and they murdered him. That taser couldn't kill that cop. All they need is a reason. This Esau we talking about. Go ahead to verse 52.
Verse 52. Then said Yahushua unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword.
I think it said a little bit different in Mark or Luke, where it says, he who killeth with the sword shall be killed. No. That's Revelation. But it's saying basically if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Basically, like I know brothers that was in the streets, and they got murdered simply because people were scared of them. People were afraid to deal with them, so some nigga who was scared to deal with them like a man decided that it'd be easier to just murder him. Racom Racom probably know, you know what I'm saying, we wrestle with that with my brother, you know what I'm saying, the same way. Go ahead.
Well, say Christ, the Hamashai said, pick up the sword. I said, put down the sword. He said, pick up that sword and do that in his place.
No. He said take it up, basically, like, let's read it again. Go ahead and read it again. It say, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. In other words, if that's your only way to get up out of this, it ain't gonna work. You're going to die at somebody else's sword because you believe that your sword is going to get you up out of here. That's what he was saying. When it says, he that live by the sword will die by the sword, if that's your strength, it's a precept that said, woe to them that go to Egypt for help because they got chariots and they got an army and they got all these different things. The Lord is your help. The Lord is your savior. The Lord is who is going to get you up out of this situation. Not your AR-15, not your AK-47, not your 40, Glock 40 or whatever. And if you don't understand that, you know what I'm saying, now it's good to defend yourself. But it's certain areas and times when we at camp, if they come up and they take, if I'm the camp leader and they take me to jail, I gotta go to jail. Like, okay, eventually I'm gonna get out. Now we sit there and fight with them crackers, they might kill all of us. Who gonna do the work? Y'all niggas the only niggas in Florida deciding to change their life. Isn't it more important to keep me alive? They can come to manager and YAHANNA come buy me out. Christ knew what his job was. He didn't want all his men that was in his camp to die. And he was basically telling him, you're not handling this the right way. Let it happen. Let them do what they're going to do. The Lord is with me. The Lord is with y'all. Y'all serving him. You ain't got to shoot it out with these oppressors. You understand? BLACKWATCH or no? That's what was going on. He was saying it was a bad thing for him to go to war with them because they was outnumbered. It wasn't a war that they were supposed to fight. The Lord didn't tell them to fight that war, or else it's the script say, oh man, I'm gonna give you this one precept. Golly, let me find it real quick. Give me a second. I'm trying to hurry up. Nah, that's not it. It's a scripture where Christ was like, if I wanted my people to fight, they would fight, or something like that. Anybody know where that scripture at? Go ahead.
It's right here. Well, after he cut the ear off, he put the ear back on and say, well, we got 10 legions of angels. We want to fight. It's in the same story.
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead and go to verse 53.
Verse 53. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels?
You see that? Christ like, don't you think I can pray to the Most High? I done walked on water. I done raised the dead. Don't you think now I can pray to my Father and he could just send the angels to get rid of all these cats? This gotta happen. Ain't nothing you can do about it. You just a man. Stand down, warrior. Stand down. Huh? That's what he was telling them. You got it, BLACKWATCH? Did I answer your question?
Kind of kind.
All right, Most High in Christ. Any other questions?
Lord, sir.
Go ahead.
I got a question on Mark 8, chapter 8, verse 15.
Mark 8 and 15. What's the question?
Our question is, what is the leaven that he's talking about?
It's true, but pop.
Con.
Mark 8 and 15. Let's see.
Con, sir.
Mm. 8 and 11. And the Pharisees came forth and began to question him, seeking of him a sign from heaven, tempting him. And he sighed deeply in his spirit and said, why doeth this generation seek a sign? Verily I say to you, there shall no sign be given unto this generation. And he left them and entered into the ship, again departed to the other side. And when the disciples had forgotten to take bread, neither had they in the ship with them more than one loaf, he charged them, saying, take heed, beware the leaven of the Pharisees and of the leaven of Herod. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have no bread. And when Yahushua knew it, he said unto them, why reason ye because ye have no bread? Perceive ye not yet, neither understand? Have you your heart yet hardened? Having eyes seeing not, and having ears, and do you not remember? When I break the 5 loaves amongst 5,000, how many baskets full you took up? They said unto him, 12. And when the 7 among 4,000, how many baskets full of fragments you took up? And they said 7. And he said unto them, how is it that you do not understand? All right, so what he was basically telling them is, don't sell yourself or sell out this truth because you feel like you don't have enough. Basically, they didn't bring enough food. They was about to. It's like when we was out in the wilderness, all the Israelites were saying, at least in Egypt, we had flesh pots and we had meat and we had things like this. Moses, you done brought us out here to die. When you following the man of the Lord, listen what I'm telling you. The Lord is going to supply you with everything you need. It might not look like it, but it'll show where your faith at. We just went over it when I was saying in the scriptures, don't woe to them that go to Egypt for help. This is the same thing that Christ is saying. Like, just keep following me. Like, you already know. You seen what I did when we ain't had no food last time. Now, we ain't got nothing but this little half a loaf of bread or whatever the case may be. Do not sell yourself out to the Pharisees or whatever to get no food. Basically, that's what he's saying. All right. All right, with that, I pass the class over to priest and officer in the shop. We're going to go ahead and you can go through the announcements. One extra thing I want to add, make sure anybody who said that they was going to be donating, I ain't talked to Cap today, but I talked to him yesterday. Anybody who said they was going to be donating to the building fund, we definitely going to need that. I.S.U.P.K has its first building. When I came into the truth, it was one brother down here in the truth, and that was Captain Shawar. It wasn't nobody else. It wasn't no offices in Orlando. It wasn't no offices in Tampa. It wasn't no offices in Jacksonville. It wasn't no offices in Daytona. None in Miami. There's offices everywhere now, and we just got our first school. All right, so we've been teaching over this conference line. Started with this was the only day I had off was Sunday, and that class still going on 5 years later. The brother catered to my schedule to teach me, to raise me up out, because I wasn't able to make it through the online classes. This thing has grown. The Lord has made this thing grow into what it's supposed to be. Now we finally got us a school, a building that we can call home, and we can build from there. Lord allow, we'll get us one up top. You know what I'm saying? It'll be 2 schools, and then we'll have one in every city. You know what I'm saying? That's the vision you know what I'm saying, that I have for this, just seeing what happened where y'all brothers came out of nowhere. So if you are a young man, you know what I'm saying, you're a trooper, go ahead and continue in this truth and raise up whatever city you in to be greater than what it is right now. It's your job to do it. That's why the hell you here. You ain't here just to get yourself together. You here to get yourself together and then to raise up other men. This is the same thing the men before me did. This is the thing that I put in, and this building being the first step is going to be a, you know what I'm saying, finally, when we look at, you know, other cities and other states, and we see how they got their schools and they got these things or whatever, they shut the damn, they shut the libraries down, and the whole Florida school went back to, you know what I'm saying, we can't teach and all of that. Well, finally, we ain't got to worry about that. We got our own thing. When we go back, we ain't got to rent buildings for our feast days and things like that. But it's going to take every last brother, every last sister in this school to help us keep it. It's one thing to get something, it's another thing to sustain it. And we say that to brothers all the time. You can go and get all these wives, but how many you gonna keep? How many gonna stick with you? You understand what I'm saying? So now let's see if we can keep this school and be diligent about consistency. And it's gonna take every brother who said they was gonna do something to do what they said they was gonna do. Everybody understand? Hey, we're going into 9 11. The shot. Don't even worry about the announcements. Let's go ahead and salute out so we can go ahead and get into Black Watch. Go ahead. Are we what? Absolutely. If you are a trooper, or if you are an officer in here, you have a certain amount that you are required to give. If you're a trooper, a young man or assistant in school, you should have already, committed to do a certain amount per month, whatever you could afford. Um, Most brothers was doing, either 10, 20, 15, whatever dollars a week, which translated into, $80 or $60 or whatever the case may be per month. So whatever it is you could do, just get with the brother that's over your city and make sure you put it down like, hey, I ain't, if you ain't slaving, you don't, no need to commit anything. You just send in what you can. But if you slaving, we talking about $15 a week. That's 1 hour out of the 40 hours that you working. You feel what I'm saying? Or 2 hours if you making $8 or whatever. So you know what I'm saying? Let's try to do this, man. Keep this thing. This is our thing to build up. We don't do it like a lot of people. We don't try to go out and get other people to come into the school. We don't force crowns on people's head. The brothers that's here is the people that the Lord sent us, and we build them up and we make them stronger. So you know what I'm saying? You never know what other brothers and sisters that's in this class is going through right now, and you know what I'm saying, we need a place to call home. All right, we've been doing our Sabbath service our brothers' houses for far too long. With that, go ahead, Nashak, go ahead and call it.